You hear that song, it means it's time for the First Federal Money Program with local legend Dick Belcher. How are you, sir?
I'm 96%.
Well, that's better than most.
That's right.
That's better than the average. That's even better than the median.
Okay, legend, that means I'm old?
No.
Oh.
Not
okay.
necessarily.
All right. Okay, we got a lot of things happening, have happened and going to happen. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. First of all, we got to turn our clocks up.
Yep.
Sunday morning.
Spring forward.
Spring forward. Okay.
2 a.m.
Okay, I may not do it at 2 a.m.
I may do it about supper time Saturday night and live with being wrong for a couple hours.
Yeah. Okay, temperatures are going to get warmer. What's the forecast for this weekend, Mary?
This coming weekend, we see a high on Saturday of 46 and Sunday of 42. But by next weekend, we'll be pushing 60.
60.
57 degrees
Okay,
is forecasted high for next Thursday. So
that'll bring the daffodils up.
I'm thinking so.
Rochester Board of Public Works and Safety decided to hire some help for the downtown building facade project. Pat Jacobs and Steve Ray will be doing that.
Excellent.
Former Colorado Governor John Hickenlooper announced he is running for president.
Yeah.
How many Democrats do we have running now?
Well, there's only 3 left that aren't, so.
Okay.
They live in Alaska. Had you ever heard of him before?
No. You?
No, which would be my entire point about his candidacy.
Okay, a little trivia this morning. Wilbur Wright, who was the oldest of the Wright brothers, who are American aviator pioneers, was born in what Indiana town? Millville, Madison, or Mooresville? You know that?
Goodness.
Okay, sports. Tanner Lee, famous Tanner Lee, is here this morning.
Morning.
Soon to be.
Soon to be?
Soon to be. Yeah, tell us what's happening in the world.
Yeah, we got a lot going on, especially locally. We still have some local teams gearing up and getting ready for the boys regional basketball action this weekend. Tippecanoe Valley beat Northwood 43-41 over the weekend to win their first sectional title since 2013. So congratulations to them. Now they have the tough task of playing Delta tomorrow, who is 26-0, only undefeated team in the state out of all 4 classes.
Wow.
That game will be at noon. Can you tell me who's the famous person around the state of Indiana who went to Delta?
Matt Painter.
Matt Painter. You're correct. Yep. Yep. Can't get anything by you, Dick.
Yeah, I know.
So good luck to the boys Viking team tomorrow. And Argus beat Oregon Davis 47-37 to win their first sectional since 2005. Quite an accomplishment for them. They will play Covenant Christian tomorrow at 10 o'clock. So, and I believe RTC is covering both the Valley and Argus games. So you can check those out on Channel 4 or maybe Channel 340 or 341. Purdue lost a tough one at Minnesota Tuesday night, 73-69. Unfortunately, now Purdue doesn't have a chance to win an outright Big Ten title. They can still tie for it tomorrow if they beat Northwestern. They travel to Northwestern for a 2:30 game. If they win, they'll tie with either Michigan or Michigan State. And then Purdue would be the 2 seed in the Big Ten tournament. Indiana's starting to find their mojo a little bit. They've won 3 straight all of a sudden.
Wow.
They beat Michigan State 63-62 over the weekend, then went to Illinois last night and won 92-74. They hadn't put up that many points in a long time.
Away.
Yeah, away especially. Yeah, you're right. They shot the ball really well last night. Now they host Rutgers on Sunday, and I'm thinking if they beat Rutgers on Sunday and then win one game in the Big Ten tournament, they might sneak in the NCAAs, which is pretty incredible. Thinking they're 7-12 right now in conference, and just a little while ago they lost 10 of 11 games at one point. So we'll see what happens there. Butler beat Xavier on Tuesday 71-66. They travel to Providence tomorrow. Butler is going to probably have to win their conference tournament to get in. And so will Notre Dame. They're having a rough year. They lost to Clemson on Wednesday 64-62 and travel to Pittsburgh tomorrow. So plenty of basketball going on if you like basketball.
Okay, now you got a report on Rochester Middle School's 8th grade girls. They won their tournament and they're 15-0.
There you go. I didn't have that written down,
Okay.
so I'm glad you did. I did bring some tidbits with me this morning. Not as many as usual, but
Ooh, that's good.
I brought some. On this day in 1817, the New York Stock Exchange was founded.
Okay.
On this day in 1972, the first flight of the Goodyear blimp happened. I don't know how much that still flies over events. I know a decade
It's
ago.
around, isn't it?
Yeah, it was still always flying over the big football games or
Yeah.
whatever was going on. Good advertising. And today's International Women's Day.
Yep.
It's Proofreading Day, so proofread your work. Peanut Cluster Day, and Middle Name Pride Day. So we all have to take pride in our middle names today, I guess.
I take
Okay.
pride in mine.
Yeah.
Mine's Eugene. My dad's name, middle name was Eugene.
Good to keep it going.
Keep it going, but I didn't name any of our kids that. Okay, friends of the Fulton County Public Library having a book sale today, 10 to 4. Gently used books and other library-related materials will be sold. And when they say sell, it's a bargain.
It's a bargain.
It's a
Yep.
bargain. So get down there and take a look. There's probably something there that you could use. Civic players or Logansport are putting on the comedy play Regents Only.
Regrets only.
Right, that's
Yeah.
what I said. Regrets Only tonight and tomorrow 7:30 and on Sunday 2:30. Our own Heather Carr will be playing the part of the maid of honor. Fulton County Historical Society Antique and Collectible Shows is today from 10 to 7 and tomorrow 9 to 4. Admission $4. 12 and under free.
Yep. That's a bargain.
Okay, now that's a pretty big event. I've been out to that a few times, and they've got a lot of, I wouldn't say junk, but they've got a lot of
Yeah,
collectibles.
there you go.
Fulton County Public Library is hosting a blood drive from with the American Red Cross on March the 12th next week, 10 to 3. RSVP of Fulton County is selling green carnations for St. Patrick's Day on March 17th. They are $1.50 each, and delivery date is March 15th. Just call them up and they'll bring it right to you.
Absolutely.
Abenabi Township Fish and Chicken Fry is tomorrow at the fire department in Lighters Ford, 4 to 7. Some milestones. Our own Don Grunler, retired CFO, passed away at his home earlier Sunday morning at the age of 70. Condolences to his wife Lynn and son Nick. Just need to say a little bit about Don. Don and I worked together for 32 years. He was our CPA and our bean counter. Did a great job for us. A real gentleman and a real sense of humor. And one of the big shockers at Barron is, you know, when Santa Claus is here, we usually have Don was here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now we
And he was also here for many years on the Valentine's
That's
Day
right,
dedication
that's right.
show. And quite the swimmer in high school.
Yep. Some flowers to Linda Earp, retiring Newcastle Township trustee for 22 years. Also from flowers for Representative Bill Friend. He was recently received the award from the Indiana Pork Producers for promoting the pork industry in the state of Indiana. Okay, with some money news, the Dow was down 200 yesterday. The futures this morning are down also. Closed yesterday at 25,473. The mystery of who won the 1.5 billion, that's with a B, mega million jackpot in South Carolina has been solved, but the winner wants to remain anonymous.
Don't blame them.
Now you can do that. I've been wondering that about that.
Yeah.
You can say I don't want the press and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but when you start driving new cars and
Well, yeah.
buying
You're
new
gonna have to keep
houses,
low still. Yeah.
your neighbors might get the
I
hint.
couldn't even work at work Wednesday. I was putting an elevator into the car.
They opted to take the cash option one-time payment of nearly $878 million. That's after the tax was taken out.
We might have to cut a few coupons, but you'll be okay.
Yeah.
Probably get by. Southwest Airlines offering introduction Hawaiian flights for as low as $49.
Yeah, there's a catch to that, though. I clicked on the
Oh, a
headline.
catch to it.
Where do you fly from?
Yeah, Oakland or San Jose.
Okay.
And then it's only on certain days and certain times.
Yeah.
So they make it
wondered about
clickbait. They make you
Yeah.
click on it. CNN. Yeah.
Okay. Now, tell us about this card.
Yeah, so the most expensive new car ever built
yeah.
debuted publicly at the Geneva International Motor Show in Switzerland on Tuesday with a sale price of $19 million.
And sold immediately, didn't it?
Yeah, it's a Bugatti, and I'm not even going to try to pronounce the rest of it because I'll butcher it, but $19 million.
And sold immediately.
Yeah.
Sold immediately, yeah.
That's hard to wrap my mind around.
Bugatti has been a high-end automobile since there has been a Bugatti.
Yeah.
I mean, if you go to some of these pages on exotic cars and world cars and such on Facebook, at least once a day you'll see it. Rolling sculpture is what I call it because they are really, really beautiful cars.
19 million, just.
You wouldn't drive that around here. You'd spend $5 million every time you hit a pothole.
No, you don't know who bought it.
It didn't say.
I know who bought it.
Yeah.
They're from South Carolina.
Yeah, the guy that won.
Oh yeah, he could buy quite a few of those if they would make more than one.
Okay, do we have any in Fulton County? Bugattis?
I would be very surprised, but not
They
that
make
I
a
know.
limited number. It's one of those European car companies that doesn't make very many every year, and the reason they don't have to is because they charge that much. You know.
When I was a student at Purdue, I saw a couple Bugattis riding around campus. Some
Professors.
No, I think it was actually some foreign students. That,
that makes sense.
Yeah, had some money.
Yeah.
And, yeah, it was kind of definitely made your head turn when they drive by. Was that what I think it was? Yeah.
Yeah, like a Bentley, only more so.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
probably got 12 cylinders in it.
Okay, enough about cars.
All right.
We got to talk about airplanes and airports.
Could I get a loan on a Bugatti?
No, don't even think about
Nice
it.
shot.
Okay, come in today at First Federal. We're open till 5 o'clock tomorrow. On Saturday, we're open 8:30 to noon. You can always bank with us online with our mobile apps, which is free to download. Tell us about that.
Yep. No matter what device you have, Apple, Android, different device, you can download on your tablet or phone. Go to the store you download apps on. Look for type in First Federal Savings Bank. Look for the green background and the white star, and you can do so much with our app. You can do most of your banking right there with your handheld device.
Can you pay your bills?
Yeah.
That's the most handy thing I think about online banking.
Yeah.
I sit in my chair at home and pay my bills.
Yeah. So if you don't want to come see our smiling faces, then you can
Pay it on.
pay it right there.
Okay. We offer simply free checking accounts and simply free business checking accounts. When you open a new checking account, you get a free gift. We changing that now?
Yeah, today and tomorrow's last day if you want the charger for your mobile device or the water tumbler.
Yeah.
Next week it's going to be a mini Bluetooth speaker.
A mini Bluetooth
Yeah, it's
speaker.
pretty sleek looking.
Is it?
I don't want to spoil it for anybody. They're going to come see it.
Okay.
You don't want to lose that initial shot
Okay.
of glory.
Suspense.
We got a couple CD specials that you can't refuse. 12-month CD, the APY on that's 2.17%, or a 2-year 2 option. That's our most popular. Currently, the rate on that, the APY is 2.52. We offer commercial lending for businesses. Contact Lindy Breeden for more information. You want more information on home mortgages? See Ben Dalton or John Schaefer here in Rochester, or Bill Morris over in Winnemac. Borrowers must meet underwriting guidelines. We are members of the FDIC and an equal housing lender, and our NMLS number 399927. And as Tom would say, now we're legal.
We are legal
We're
and ready
legal.
to go.
Okay, Dan Funk, welcome. Glad to have you here.
Good morning.
Good morning. You're president of the Fulton County Airport Board.
Just a title, really.
Just a title? Yeah, so tilt that up so
There.
they don't miss anything out
Test,
there.
test.
Your mother's probably listening. And,
Yeah, she is.
okay.
Hi, Mom.
Okay, Dan, tell us about what's happening out at the airport. I went by there the other day and saw a bunch of steel up in the air.
There is a bunch of steel in the air. Building a hangar. I'm not sure the exact dimensions. I think it's the overall dimensions 100 by 100 feet, and it's going to have a door on it that's a solid chunk of metal that opens up. It's like 80 or 90 feet wide and 24 feet high, and it uses 2 hydraulic cylinders. You push a button, or it might even have a car remote on it, and the hydraulics fire up, and it lifts right up as a solid panel. So it's pretty cool to see. And that's not even the biggest to do the single panel, but it's one of the largest
Okay.
of those.
Okay, now what motivated your group to build this building? What are you going to use it for? And where'd you get the money, and how much does it cost?
Those are a lot
I'm
of
a
questions.
taxpayer.
That's
I wanna
those
know.
are a lot of questions, and I'm sure a lot of people wonder.
It was a dark and stormy night.
It was- Those Tuesday board meetings, it kind of slows sometimes. We the old maintenance hangar we had is currently being occupied by Samaritan. Samaritan used to be in a smaller hangar, and they needed to upgrade because occasionally they'll have 2 helicopters in there, whether one's being worked on or they're using the other one for training. They need more room. The old hangar, they had to position the rotors just right to push it in there, and if the rotors weren't just right, they could hit the wall or the door. And if you even so much as touch the rotors, you just about have to tear them down and x-ray them and all of that to make sure there aren't any fractures, because that could be really bad. So we moved Samaritan over to the maintenance hangar. That's the one in the first one you come to on the ramp side, the largest one there. And now we're thinking we probably really need to work on getting a mechanic at the airport. We have some opportunities, we think, to secure a mechanic, working with some other airports, and we're excited about the prospect of that. Having a mechanic would not only be really good for the local aircraft owners, but would probably bring in some other traffic into our airport. And that's what we want. We want those landings and takeoff numbers. So usually a project done at the airport is funded partially, or I guess majority of it's funded by the FAA.
What is the FAA?
The FAA is the Federal Aviation Administration.
Okay.
They're a big organization. And because we are looking to rent out this hangar, it's considered a revenue generating project, and they really like for us to fund those locally. So we decided to fund the hangar locally a few years ago, and our strategic plan has been to save up some money so we could just pay to have that built. And we're pretty excited that we're able to do that without taking out a bond.
And what's the total cost going to be?
Around 1.5
1.5
million. Yeah.
And you've got that money under a mattress someplace.
We do.
Okay.
Yeah. It's tucked under one of the runway lights out there.
Okay.
So Matt will go out there tomorrow and find that all the runway lights that they dug up looking for that money. We have some CDs, and we look for the best rate.
When you talk about the mechanic, are you talking about a full-time position here, or you would share this with other airports around?
The mechanic would be self-employed.
Okay.
And we would do everything to entice a mechanic to open up shop here. We can do things. We can let them start rent-free for a year, help them get started, help them with some tools, whatever we can do to entice them and to help them be successful. And then eventually, as their customer base grows, we'll wean them off of those incentives.
So you anticipate that there'll be enough mechanical business out there to support this person?
We do. We've had mechanics in the past with about the same number of aircraft on the field, and they've been able to do it. Might have to have a part-time job. Another option is they could do mechanical work for the airport, change oil, stuff like that too, to help keep them busy. But we have quite a few aircraft out there now.
Okay, now tell us a little bit about the activity, Dan, that goes on there and how that helps support the community and You got any statistics on number of flights in or out, or?
The number of flights in and out seems to change all the time. It's actually going down. The shift seems to be from an abundance of smaller aircraft flying in and out for lunch or breakfast to more jets flying in and out. Culver Military Academy seems to bring a lot of jets. Their students' parents are bringing jets in to drop off the kids or pick them up. But we've seen an uptick in local business traffic too. One, I remember we had a dairy group in from Walmart scouting out dairy farmers, and it's just kind of fun to see people, flying into our airport. I really still truly feel like our airport is the shining front door to our economic development. We have a very nice airport. We take a lot of pride in it. And people fly in, we give them some literature on businesses and recreational things in Fulton County and give them information on Fedco, whatever they, we just kind of stick it in the aircraft and maybe they'll see it on the way home.
Okay, I know you extended the runway recently. That allowed you to take what type of planes that you couldn't take before?
We can take a medium to large size private jet. So your Gulfstreams can operate in and out of the airport, Challengers, and that brings up a good point. We had to kind of pick a target aircraft that we wanted to be able to fit in our hangar. Sometimes we have aircraft come in. Recently we had an aircraft come in that the pilot, they didn't want to have any snow on the aircraft when they took off, so Matt and Bob were out there, maybe Scott, blowing using leaf blowers to blow the snow off of this $30 million plane. But now we'll be able to put the target aircraft was a Challenger 350. So any of the Googlers out there can Google a Challenger 350 and see just about the size of aircraft that we want to put in there.
Okay, let's shift gears a little bit, Dan. Before we went on the air, you were talking to me about some things happening at Purdue and this coming weekend.
Yes. So the high school has a robotics team. They've been competing now for 9 years, I believe. And this weekend they compete in South Bend. I forget which high school it is, but they'll be leaving this morning and getting moved into their pit, setting that up, and all the competitive pictures and stuff they do are toolboxes, and then they'll start competing. I think they do some competition tonight and then Saturday and Sunday. So it's team 2909, and you can go to indianafirst.org to see their progress.
And typically, what do these robots do? Are they assigned a specific task?
Every year, it's usually the Saturday right after Christmas break. The teams converge on various places and watch on the screen a live feed of what the object is for the year. This year, the goal is to be able to move around frisbee-like devices and Nerf balls, or kind of a rubberized ball, into various places. It's the game is sponsored by Boeing, and it's about going to space. So they're putting fuel into these rockets, and then when they get enough of these fuel balls into the rocket, then it will take off, and the first team to get their rocket to take off wins. There's a whole, that's oversimplified, but the students then take the object back to their high schools and build the robot and build all the mechanics to do the objective. And they use aluminum and steel and motors, and they're, to visualize it, if you've seen the battle bots, they're about the size of the battle bot.
I was wondering if this had the same size. I mean,
Yep.
I knew they weren't annihilating each other in a cave or anything, but
Well, if you mess up, you could.
yeah. But I was wondering if we were dealing with the same size or a macro version of that.
Nope, it's the same size as a battle bot.
Which is about the size of the Mars rover, yes?
Yeah,
The stuff we sent in outer space is about that size.
Yep.
That's what I thought.
And that did really well, really.
Yeah, without an oil change.
The kids, I can't say enough for what the kids get out of the event. They go in there not really knowing what kind of pressure they're going to be under, and the competition is crazy. But if the robot breaks down, they have to fix it themselves. And Joel, Lau, and I really pride ourselves on the kids doing it. Other teams, they might have a lot of help, but we want the kids to be the ones to be under pressure and learn. And it's eye-opening for the kids that hadn't been there before.
Okay, before we went on the air, you gave me a check to deposit to your account, and it had Purdue University on it.
Yeah.
How'd you?
It's the first check I've seen with Purdue in the payer field versus the payee field. There are lots of grants and sponsorships available, and one of them that was made aware to us was one from Purdue, and it has something to do with the Indiana Economic Development. I think is funding this grant, but it's being managed by Purdue.
Okay, now what will that money be used for?
That money is going to be used to help offset the costs of travel and meals, which is important when you're taking high school kids that eat a lot. And then other grants that we receive are used for parts and materials for the robot.
Okay, in closing, Dan, tell us how you got interested in airports and flying and crazy things like that.
Crazy is a good word for it. My best friend, Dan Chrisman, was learning how to fly. His instructor, he started out with Harrison Crable, a great guy. And I was there the day he soloed. It was terribly windy. Dan likes to add that my winter coat that day was an IU coat, which I no longer have. But so Dan took off in the wind. I think it was in February, and did a really good job. And I followed him through getting his license, and then I'd have him fly me around to various places, and we just had a lot of fun. And one day he got his instructor's rating, and he said, "Okay, you're going to learn how to fly." And I remember telling my grandpa, some of you might remember Bud Paulus, I told him I was going to take flying lessons from Dan Chrisman. And of course, Dan was just a year older than me. I was a freshman in college, and he said, "Dan's a great kid, but isn't there somebody else with a little more experience that would be teaching me how to fly?" And I said, "No, Grandpa, I think we're going to be okay." And of course, I guess he didn't stop me. But I like to add that Dan is now was the 2018 #1 flight instructor in the United States.
Wow.
And I think that's just incredible.
Yeah,
Yes.
it is.
And
Super
he
proud.
started with you.
I think I was his first pink slip. When you go up for a check ride and you can't demonstrate something just right, of course the examiner was really picky. I'll say that right now.
As they
Spoken
should
like
be.
a true loser, but yeah. So I got back down on the ground. I said, "Dan, I have to go back up with the guy." So
Okay.
we figured it out and went back up.
Dan Funk, President of Fulton County Airport Board, thanks for stopping by and informing us about the airport and what's happening out there.
Sure, it was fun.
Okay, our trivia this morning, Wilbur Wright, who was the oldest of the Wright brothers, who are American aviation pioneers, was born in what Indiana town? Millville, Madison, or Mooresville? No, Dan?
I think so, but I know it starts with an M.
Okay, you're right.
Mooresville,
No,
Mass,
Millsville.
Millsville.
Yeah, that's no longer existing. is it?
I Googled it, and the only Google fact I could find was,
And he was born.
yeah, so I don't think it's really much of a town anymore.
Okay, let's close with this statement by Henry Ford, American businessman. Now, what car did he make? Okay, Henry Ford says, "When everything seems to be going against you, remember that the airplane takes off against the wind, not with it."
Yes, very good point. And again, thank you, gentlemen, for a Friday morning edition of the First Federal Money Program with Dick Belcher. It is 8 o'clock.